Well, after close to 9 months of waiting to see what actually led to the death of Kevin Adolphe, I just had the opportunity to look at 3 different body cameras. The state attorney's office had them synced, so where I could see from 3 different angles what exactly was transpiring. There was a foot chase by 3 uniformed officers, and within that time, one of the officers shot 7 rounds from his gun, hitting Mr. Adolphe 3 times. According to their official sworn statement, they saw a gun in Mr. Adolphe's hand, and he discharged it prior to the officer. I think his name was Haylis or Harless, firing his firearm. From the vantage point of the body camera, in real time, you can see no firearm, and even in slowing it down, you see Mr. Adolphe with the firearm in his left hand as he's falling to the ground.
So tell us the significance of the gun being in his left hand.
Well, Mr. Adolphe was right hand dominant, and the officer's claim is that he was shooting at them as he ran from them. However, after being shot, Mr. Adolphe never fires another round.
So now, when Mr. Adolphe was shot, was he on his feet running with his back to the officers, or was he on the ground?
He was on, well, they believe that the medical examiner's report will show he was upright. Again, I still don't have that, but at least from the angle I saw, I believe at least 1 bullet struck him while he was on the ground, but all were it was in his back.
So police are supposed to shoot if their lives are in danger. So if he's fleeing and he's shot in the back, how?
Well, I think their justification is going to be the supposed discharge of his firearm that they claim happened prior to the officer shooting. The camera doesn't show that. None of the audio supports that. No officer says gun, gun. No officer says shots fired. It's hard for me to believe that Mr. Adolphe would have chosen to use his left hand, non-dominant hand, to fire a shot at officers as he fled from them. I just find that hard to believe. We're going to have some experts try and break down the tape to see if he indeed discharged the gun prior to being shot, because the projectile, the casing that came from that gun, was found several yards away from where he allegedly had discharged. So that also tells me that he did not discharge where the officers claim he did, and that if he discharged later, that was only after he had been shot.
But he was shot in the back.
He was shot in the back. All 3 entry wounds were in his back, and they never exited his body.
And you think that at least one of those shots was fired when he was on the ground?
That's what it appears. It appears that one was shot when he was on the ground. I'm trying to determine if one was shot that actually put him to the ground the first time, because he hit the ground. Their position is he tripped. Again, I can't tell. He got back up. More shots was fired. He hit the ground again. And then he rolled around for a while. Of course, they were telling him to be still. He has projectiles in his body. It's understandable that he was moving, but at no time does he fire that firearm a second time, if he ever fired in the first place.
So now, help us understand, why were they pursuing him in the first place?
An undercover officer indicated that a plainclothes undercover officer said that he was in a stolen vehicle. And so he called for backup to apprehend him. And so when those officers arrived on the scene, they saw Mr. Adolphe taking things out of the car, and they immediately gave chase, and he started running.
So why did it take the police, why did it take officials so long to release this video?
Well, keep in mind, it still hasn't been released yet to the public. I have no idea why OPD has not released it because their investigation was concluded when FDLE concluded theirs. The state attorney's office, we appreciate them bringing us down, allowing the family to take a look at their son's last moments, and they should be officially rendering an opinion that they will not be filing criminal charges, and at that time all of the documents and video will be released.
So now there's a pattern in some of these cases you're handling, because you've got cases of 3 young black men. 21, Mr. Adolphe is 22, Mr. Melvin is 22, who were shot in their back while fleeing. What remind us of what changes you want to see?
Well, I don't believe it's ever appropriate to discharge a weapon to apprehend somebody. If you're not fast enough, you put out an APB, catch them some other time. That's first and foremost. Next, the actual shooting, the audio, the video that's been captured should be made public. Once the family is told about the incident and you show them the incident, the public has a right to review it and judge it for themselves. If those 2 things were to happen, just stop shooting people in the back. It doesn't matter what race it is, but it appears that when you're a black suspect, the guns come out a lot quicker, the triggers are pulled a lot faster. And secondly, that transparency, that disclosure, just be open to the public. Allow people to see what your officers saw. And thirdly, stop letting the officers see this video before you get their statement, because in real time it is impossible to see him with a firearm. We looked at it twice, you didn't see it. Slowing it down, you see it, and these officers got to slow it down. They got to watch it before they gave their formal statement. So of course, once you see the gun on video, you can give your formal statement that, oh yeah, by the way, I saw a gun. But none of their real-time audio supports that.
So what, as a lawyer representing the family, what are your next steps? What do you think will have to happen?
We really have to think about it. It's going to be difficult because, yes, there was a firearm in his hand that they are alleging he discharged. And in all honesty, when people see that, potential jurors see that, actual jurors see that, they're going to want to justify the officers' actions because that's what we want to do. We don't want to believe that officers are making mistakes and they're killing our youth in their prime. We want to feel that every officer shooting is justified, and that's how most people see them to begin with. And so unless you have excuse the pun, a smoking gun, it's going to be hard to prevail. And my heart goes out to the Adolphe family because his mom is in a very precarious situation. She has experienced the death of a son from the hands of another young black male. She's experienced it from the hands of police officers. She's seen the horror and trauma and pain and hurt from both sides. That is a pandemic or epidemic in our neighborhood, that we have our young people's, their lives have been taken away from them on both ends. And I feel for her, like the excruciating pain that she was displaying, the screams, the yells, the tears. I guarantee you everybody in that building hurt because it was genuine, it was real. To lose 2 sons in that horrific manner is tough. And our heart goes out to them, and if we can't help them, we're just glad that we've been able to get the truth to them where they can see it.